Good day, sir. My name is John Jailard Oshaga. My student number is 2102250. I am a BSIT student of Pamantasan ng Kabuyao, and I'm gonna present you some topics that I have learned in social and professional issues. The first one is ethics. What is ethics? Ethics as a part of philosophy deals with questions regarding whether there is a reason to act. Ethics is concerned with character as well as human acts and reasons for action. In reality, the term ethics is derived from the Greek word ethos, which means character or manners in plural. Ethics, often known as moral philosophy, is the study of what is ethically good and evil, right and wrong. Any system or philosophy of moral ideals or principles is also referred to by this word. Different moral ethical theories. The first one is relativism. It's common to refer to relativism as the idea that all points of view are equally valid. This translates to arguing that all moralities are good in terms of ethics, and it suggests that all belief systems are true in terms of epistemology. Subjective relativism and cultural relativism are two specific varieties of relativism. And the example is subjective relativism declares that each person is his or her own source of moral principles and authority on the moral life. Next is cultural relativism. Is a term used to describe the idea that what is believed to be true, valuable, or expected in one social system might not be so in another. Next is divine command theory. Is a theory that holds that whether an action is morally righteous equals whether it is God's commandment. According to the view, what God demands determine what is moral, and obeying His commandments is what it is to be moral. Next is ethical egoism. According to the concept of ethical egoism, we should behave in our own best interest at all times. In other words, the morally appropriate course of conduct for a person to adopt in a specific circumstance is the course of action that will bring about the greatest overall good for that individual. Next is consequentialism. Describes those moral systems that maintain that the result of a specific action serves as the foundation for any honest moral assessment of that action. Therefore, a morally correct action is one that results in positive effects according to a consequentialist account. Kantianism. Kantianism or deontology is an obligation-based theory authored by the German philosopher Immanuel Kant. This theory asserts that moral decisions should be made based on one's duties and the rights of others. It could be stated as act morally regardless of the consequences. Our next topic is computing hacking and cracking. In certain IT literature, the terms hacking and cracking are interchangeable, refer to illegal activities against the interests of an individual or an organization carried out via computers and networks. Both hackers and crackers have in-depth and broad understanding of how computers and networks operate. Their diverse interests account for their differences. Hackers find security system weaknesses and try to fix them on behalf of an enterprise. In essence, they belong in the category of white caps. On the other hand, crackers take advantage of security system weaknesses to obtain access to private data systems. They are categorized as black hats as a result. While cracking is illegal, hacking is a legitimate job. There are different types of hackers. The first one is ethical hacker, or also called white hat. A security hacker who gains access to systems with the goal of addressing the found vulnerabilities. Additionally, they might test for vulnerabilities and penetration. Second, cracker, or also called black hat. A hacker who uses illegal access to computers to further their own interests. Typically, the goal is to steal company information, violate personal privacy rights, move money from bank accounts, and etc. Gray hat hacker. A hacker who falls between black and hat ethical hackers. 4. Script kiddies, a non-skilled person who gains access to computer system using already made tools. Hacktivists, a hacker who sends messages that are social, religious, political, etc. Typically, to accomplish this, websites are taken over and the message is posted there. The last, Breaker, a hacker who identifies and exploits weaknesses in telephones instead of computers. Next topic is privacy. Privacy is the capacity to conceal oneself or facts about oneself, and therefore selectively disclose oneself is known as privacy. Although the parameters and content of what is deemed private vary among cultures and people. There are some fundamental characteristics that are universal. Anonymity, or the desire to go undetected or unidentified in public, is sometimes linked to privacy. A person's innate specialness or particular sensitivities are typically indicated when something is deemed private to them. Security and privacy are somewhat intertwined. Take, for example, the ideas of responsible usage and information protection. Body integrity is another sort of privacy. There are types of privacy: physical privacy, information privacy, organizational privacy, and spiritual and intellectual. Physical privacy may be a matter of cultural sensitivity, personal dignity, or shyness. And information privacy refers to the evolving relationship between technology and the legal right to public expectation of privacy in the collection and sharing of data about oneself. Organizational privacy. Various security practices and controls may be used by government agencies, firms, groups, and other organizations. Spiritual and intellectual. The earliest legislative development of privacy rights began under British common law, which protected only the physical interference of life and property. Republic Act No. 8792, or also called the Electronic Commerce Act of 2000. On June 14, 2000, President Joseph E. Estrada signed an act to provide for the recognition and use of electronic commercial and non-commercial transactions, penalties for illegal use of the same and other purposes, also known as the Electronic Commerce Act. The purpose of this act is to facilitate domestic and international dealings, transactions, arrangements, agreements, contracts, and exchanges, as well as the storage of information. By utilizing electronic, optical, and similar medium-mode instrumentality and technology to recognize the authenticity and reliability of electronic data messages. Electronic documents. An electronic document is any piece of electronic media content that is intended to be used in either electronic or printed form. Last is electronic signature. An electronic signature is a digital presentation of a person's desire to agree to the content of document or set of data. A legal notion expressing the signatory intent to be bound by the provision of the signed document, just as its handwritten counterpart in the offline world. And that's all. Thank you for